Just gonna go right out and say it. I went 4-0 for my predictions. Boom. I told you to go to Las Vegas, bank on those predictions. I expect my check in the mail within the next week. So, what I'm talking about is last week when I did my wild card predictions, I predicted, I made some ballsy predictions. I predicted every road team to win, which meant every wild card team to win over the divisional teams. And quite frankly, there were many points in time. I believe actually half the games were on the brink of I was either going to get that prediction right or wrong. It was either going to twist at the last minute or it wasn't going to. But I went 4 for 4. I expect my check in the mail since I'm the reason why you won. But anyway, this week we go over the wild card round. We go over the headlines from this week, and we go over the divisional round preview and predictions. Now, I know this video came out late, but then again, Laserbeam's predictions came out late as well, so I'm not too far behind when it comes to the overall total of it. So, yes, I'll admit, I was very lazy this week. I just did not, find the time to do it. I mean, now that I am a six-time USW champion, baby. I haven't had the time. B, I've been lazy. And C, I knew if I waited until later in the week, there were going to be a lot of headlines to come out. And if there weren't going to be a lot of headlines, there were going to be some monumental headlines. Excuse me. And I need to talk about something to fill airtime since we don't have 16 games to go over. We have 4. And then next week we'll have 4. And the week after that we'll have 2. And the week after that it'll be the Pro Bowl. And the week after that it'll be the Super Bowl. And then the season's over and predictions go away until next season. Grr. But yeah, headlines, I mean, just for a preview of the headlines, the Rams are moving to Los Angeles. San Diego Chargers and Oakland Raiders may follow them as well. Detroit's head coaching position is still up in the air. San Francisco has signed head coach Chip Kelly, which is good because I'm a Niners fan. As if everything couldn't be said. So, and New Orleans is keeping head coach Sean Payton. So a lot of more important headlines to get to. We're also going over the wild card and the divisional round, as I said so. And yeah, that's about that. So let's get into the wild card recap, and we'll go from the games that were most lackluster and mediocre to the ones that went up and up and up in suspense and everything like that throughout the week. So we're going to start out first by going to Houston, where the Texans, number 4 seeded Houston Texans, hosted the number 5 seeded Kansas City Chiefs, who were at that point in time 10-0 on the road. Excuse me. This game was practically sealed from the opening kickoff, in which a 106-yard kickoff touchdown return was sent by the Chiefs, gave them a 7-0 lead, and kind of set the tone for the rest of the game and the rest of the Texans season. Now, of course, a lot of headlines come out of this. Of course, a lot of headlines come out of this. The Houston Texans are going to need to look for a quarterback this offseason since Brian Hoyer threw 4 picks in the first half. That's very, very bad. If you're not a football fan, you're just a Unitards fan, but you're watching this because I put it out. 4 interceptions is bad because that means you gave the ball to the other team 4 times in a row. I don't know why I bother explaining this. There are probably very little, if none, or if there are no Unitards fans that are just watching this because they're Unitards fans. But either way, 4 picks is awful. And I like how they did that whole revolving door segment before the game. It was like, week 1, it was Brian Hoyer. Then it was Brandon Weeden. And then it was TJ Yates. And then it was back to Brandon Weeden. Then it was Case Keenum or something like that. And then it went back to Brian Hoyer. Excuse me. And Brian Hoyer just, really was just a shit fest on offense. There was one point where they put in J.J. Watt as the quarterback to play in the wild card with Vince Wilfork blocking him. I mean, excuse me. I'm sorry. That is Vince Wilfork blocking J.J. Watt for a path to the end zone. That's like having a Tonka truck running at you to defend a fucking brick wall on wheels. I'm telling you, Somehow, some way, the Chiefs managed to stop that. I was just as shocked as anybody. But when you were able to just stop Vince Wilfork and J.J. Watt from getting to the end zone from like their own 1 or 2 yard line, you're doing something right. So excuse me. Chiefs are leading 13-0 at the half. It's looking like it's over. And then the Chiefs, I mean, there is no, Super Bowl blackout moment where the Texans just like, boom, we're back. It's the Chiefs are just rolling over them. It's not even close. Chiefs win 30-0. I believe that's the first Houston Texans blowout, or I'm sorry, shutout in playoff history since the days of the Houston Oilers. Kansas City wins. They will go on to face New England because, well, I'll talk about that later. But Kansas City wins, 11th straight win. Excuse me. And they're going into a game this week against a team that's lost 4 out of the last 6 games. Doesn't have any momentum since their final 2 games of the season were losses to the Jets and a loss to the Dolphins. The Patriots aren't doing too well, so I'm going to tell you right now, I like the Chiefs' shot at this playoff game this weekend. But Chiefs win 30-0 and the Houston Texans season, and you can just imagine what the Houston Texans are going to be looking for when it comes to quarterback next year. I mean, you can pick up a guy from free agency, Drew Brees may be on that list. Yeah, maybe Jay Cutler. I doubt it, but maybe Jay Cutler. Maybe an experienced quarterback. Maybe they'll pick someone up from the draft. Who knows? Maybe they'll trade for another, quarterback. It doesn't matter. But the Texans are going to be looking for a quarterback this offseason, something that won't, give them a rotating saloon door type. Sorry, excuse me. Intro to their games every week. Excuse me. So yeah, blowout. I'm sorry. The shutout of the week goes to the Kansas City Chiefs over the Texans. And I got that prediction right, obviously. Then we go to the NFC, where the number 5 seeded Green Bay Packers were hosted by the number 4 seeded Washington Redskins. You like that? This game, in my mind, was going to go either of 2 ways. Either the Green Bay Packers were going to shut out the Redskins, or the Green Bay Packers were just going to barely inch by the Redskins. They were going to struggle the entire game, but they were going to come back and end up winning the game. Either way, I picked the Packers to win. I was genius because the Packers won, and it was, the first of the 2. Green Bay wins 35-18, ends Kirk Cousins and the Redskins season. You've got to imagine what's going on with the Washington Redskins and the Packs in the back. You've got Kirk Cousins as your starting quarterback. You've got Robert Griffin III leaving Mother Teresa quotes all over the locker rooms. Nobody gives a fuck. But, Robert Griffin III's getting out of there. You're probably losing, a couple of your star defensive tackles because a lot of those guys are being, scouted. Maybe a coordinator or 2 maybe going for, other jobs and, whoever, whatever other places you go. This Washington Redskins team is not going to look the same next year. It may look similar, but it's not going to look the same. Excuse me. And as great, as good as, I'm not going to say great, but as good as the Redskins were this season, the Packers were able to just, have everything lights out. I'm sorry if I cough a bunch. I'm sick or something like that. First time I've been sick since like March of 2014 when I missed out on the USW pay-per-view. That big headline. Yeah. But anyway, back to the whole thing. The game started out 5-0. The first score of the game was a safety on Aaron Rodgers. Excuse me. And at that moment in time, it's like, is this how the game is going to go? Are the Redskins just going to blow out the Packers? Turned out not to be the case. I mean, they did kick a field goal, 5-0. Then they got a touchdown, missed the PAT, made it 11-0. And then the Packers just went on a roll from there. Excuse me. I think at one point scoring 24 points unanswered. And they came back to win the game 35-18. Of course, I got that prediction right. Green Bay will go on to face Arizona next week because we get to the next game. The number 6 seeded Seattle Seahawks. Gosh fucking damn it. hosted by the number 3 seeded Minnesota Vikings in -3 degree Fahrenheit weather. This game, apparently, was the third coldest playoff game in NFL history, and B, it looked so cold that I had to curl up into a blanket just to watch it because I felt cold watching the game, and I don't feel cold. I go out for walks in 10-degree Fahrenheit weather in Connecticut while it's in a blizzard, and I felt cold watching that game. But this made it look like the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, it didn't even just make it look. The Seattle Seahawks had a rough go about it, in this game. They started out the first 3 quarters just flunking everything. Blair Walsh kicking 3 field goals consecutive to give the Vikings a 9-0 lead. And just as you think the Vikings are going to win the game, Russell Wilson fumbles the snap. Either it's tossed too high or it's tossed too low, or he never called for it, but it was pre-snapped. Picks up a ball, classic Russell Wilson, launches it down the field after scrambling away from like 5 Viking defenders. Launches it to Ryan, I think it was Ryan Lockett or something like that, who takes it down to about the 3 or 4. They convert for a touchdown, 7-9, get a field goal later on, 10-9, and then you've got 26 seconds left in the game. All Blair Walsh has to do is kick a 27-yard field goal, for fuck's sake. At this moment in time, I really didn't care whether the Seahawks won and I got my prediction right, or if the Seahawks lost and I was just happy as a 49ers fan, a Seahawks hater. But Blair Walsh, sets up the kick. I don't know if it's because the laces were facing him. I don't know if it's because of the weather. Misses it wide left. Seahawks go on to kneel and win the game 10-9. Seahawks face the 15-1 Panthers next season. Green Bay goes to Arizona to play the 13-3 Arizona Cardinals. This game came down to the wire. I flipped out because I hate the Seahawks. I hate them with all my might. But of course I got that prediction right. But I just don't like the Seahawks, and them winning that game, wasn't happy about it. But that's the outcome of the game. Excuse me. Got that prediction right. That game is really not on Blair Walsh. I mean, to be honest, he was the only one to put up points on the board for the Vikings. The offense could have done something to help him out. As a matter of fact, any other score from the Vikings at all in that game would have won them a shot at the playoffs and taken the Seahawks out of contention. Fuck you, Teddy Bridgewater. But that's the outcome of the game, and now we get into the most entertaining game of the bunch. And I know a friend of mine was definitely watching this and enjoying every single second of it. She knows who she is. Number 6 seeded Pittsburgh Steelers, hosted by the number 3 seeded division rival Cincinnati Bengals. This game really didn't have much going on in the first half. 6-0. It's going to be a low-scoring game. It was going to be a low-scoring game after all. It wasn't going to be in the 30s or the 40s or the 50s. This is a divisional rivalry game where no matter how bad or how good you do, you're always going to come out to play. So 6-0. Excuse me. And then Steelers go up 13-0 with a touchdown, of course. And then Ben Roethlisberger gets hurt. I'll use her first name. I won't use her last name because why the fuck would I do that? I'm a professional. But at that point in time, the girl's name, Jess, I don't think she was happy. For some reason, I have 3 people that I come in contact with that I know are diehard Pittsburgh Steelers fans. It's Jess, it's Rich, and it's Tracy. Whoops. Jess, Rich, Tracy. And I always associate the Steelers with Rich and Jess. But with Jess, I just like to imagine her reactions because they're just, it's funny to imagine what she'd be doing. But 13-0. Ben Roethlisberger goes down. Hurts his throwing shoulder. You don't want to see that from your star quarterback. He's carted away to the locker room. This is where things get disrespectful. I saved this game for last because obviously. But as Roethlisberger's being carted away to the locker room, the Bengals fans are throwing trash at him as he's being written away from the shit. And I know this is going to be bad from here on out. Either the Steelers are going to fuck it all up, or the Bengals fans are going to riot. Because let's be honest, one of the two were going to happen. But then you put in Landry Jones, who I support because I think he had a strong showing back when Ben Roethlisberger was hurt. Landry Jones comes in, and he sucks dick. Gets sacked, and I'll tell you, it's either on the receivers for not getting open fast enough, mostly on the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line for not being able to block. Landry Jones gets sacked, I think, 6 out of 9 snaps that he takes. Bengals put up 16 unanswered points. They lead 16-15. This is where the shit gets heavy. All right? Remember these 2 names. All right? Oh, I'm sorry. Remember these 3 names because there's always got to be a third member in there. Vontaze Burfict of the Bengals. Adam Jones of the Bengals. Pittsburgh Steelers defensive coordinator Joey Porter, former middle linebacker, I believe, for the Steelers. Remember those 3 names. First, Pittsburgh Steelers snap. Under 2 minutes to go. Landry Jones sets back, passes, picks it off. Guess who's there to pick it off? Vontaze Burfict. What does he do with that ball? Comes so close, so fucking close to a Jim Marshall moment. Picks the ball off. He's lucky he's down. Runs all the way to his own end zone and into the tunnel with like 4 or 5 other fucks from the Bengals. Vontaze Burfict does what I would imagine seals the game, and I'm gonna entertain my viewers here because I'm gonna call predictions on what Jess and Rich, because Tracy, I know she's a diehard Steelers fan, but I don't know her well enough to know exactly what she do during the games. But I'm gonna give you my little predictions on what their thoughts were on these specific moments. So at that point in time, interception. Rich is frustrated. He's got his cap. He's sliding his hand over his bald head. Puts on his caps like we had a good season. Jess is disappointed, probably doing the same thing, except rubbing her hand on her long hair because she's not bald. Okay. Next snap, the Bengals have they have it in the bag, practically. Steelers may have 3 timeouts. All the Bengals need to do is get a first down to run that clock down to where they need it to be. At their own 26-yard line. Giovanni Bernard injured earlier in the game, so Jeremy Hill is your halfback for the Bengals. This is my play-by-play. Jeremy Hill runs up the middle. What happens? First Bengals play of the game. Fumble! Steelers take it. And Steelers take it back to the 20. All right. What were Rich and Jess doing then? Rich was probably screaming for the hills. And his girlfriend was probably doing the same. Jess was probably smiling with happiness or whatever. I don't know what other word you'd use in that situation. But that's my predictions on there. And then you've got a choice. Do you put in a healthy Landry Jones, who may or may not be healthy at that point in time since he took 6 sacks? Or do you put in a very hurt Ben Roethlisberger to practically throw a screen pass every play to get you down the field 80 yards in less than a minute and a half? You put in Ben Roethlisberger. You don't want to risk getting him injured, but he's your only hope at continuing your season. So 2 or 3 halfback slip screens, gets a first down or 2. They run down to, I think, 1 or no timeouts left. And then there's a play. It's a pass down the middle, probably as far as Ben Roethlisberger could throw it, 15 yards downfield from the line of scrimmage. Excuse me. To Antonio Brown, great receiver. He's very agile, very great receiver. Can most likely comes down with the catch every time you throw it to him, whether it be downfield, through the middle of the field, on the sideline, short pass, screen pass, doesn't matter. Wildcat, over his fingertips. But as he's being thrown to the side, Bengals defender, elbow right to the head of Antonio Brown, and Brown's going down. He throws up the hands. He's fucking unconscious at that point in time. That hit rocked this entire living room. I was like, oh shit, he's dead. His body contorted into a way that American Horror Story can't even horrify you that much. But guess who's the one who hit him? I wonder who it could be. Oh, wait a minute. Vontaze Burfict was back on the field, wasn't he? And he was the one that made the hit. The non-clean hit. 15-yard penalty. So far, the Steelers go from not going to make a field goal to maybe we can get a field goal. So then Adam Pac-Man Jones comes out, excuse me, complaining with the refs. And defensive coordinator for the Steelers, Joey Porter, gets on the field, which he should not have been on the field. Trust me, I'm not taking anybody's side here, but Joey Porter should not have been on the field. He should have been fined for that, and he did get fined for that. But Joey Porter's rambling on. I would imagine that specific play was actually in the playbook. Play ends, Joey Porter, you run out on the field, get them to push you and get another penalty. I guarantee you that was a play. That was a little trick play they had. But Pac-Man Jones pushes Joey Porter. Then he pushes a ref. And another 15-yard penalty is enforced. So now you've got Vontaze Burfict and Adam Jones as the kicking posts of the Bengals. Two of the most thug-like guys on the team. And I say thug-like as in, they are a major conflict in the locker room. They are not a team, like a team excuse me, player. They don't take their job seriously. They do what the fuck they want. So the Steelers go from, maybe we can get a field goal to, we're probably going to get a field goal. They don't run any time down. Kick is up. It's good, 18-16. Then you get a kickoff. They return it to the 20 or so. And A.J. McCarron sets up to what could be the Bengals' final play, and what really should not have been the Bengals' final play. But he steps up. Final play, lobbed in the air, incomplete. Steelers move on. The miracle in the icy river of Cincinnati. Pittsburgh wins. I go 4-0 on predictions. Jess and Rich, well, Jess is probably happy at this point in time. Rich, and I know what he was thinking. We should not have won that game. He even told me himself at that moment in time. I was like, we should not have won that game. That was not a good. That was an ugly win. Excuse me. And I agree with that. And I always believed in the saying, quote unquote, did not win the game, quote unquote, lost the game. Like with the Seahawks and the Patriots. The Patriots didn't win the Super Bowl. The Seahawks lost the Super Bowl. The Steelers didn't win that game. The Bengals lost it. Pittsburgh goes on to play Denver next week. The divisional games are set. AFC, number 5 seeded Kansas City Chiefs are hosted by the number 2 seeded New England Patriots. Number 6 seeded Pittsburgh Steelers are hosted by the number 1 seeded Denver Broncos. In the NFC, the number 5 seeded Green Bay Packers are hosted by the number 2 seeded Arizona Cardinals. And number 6 seeded Seattle Seahawks are hosted by the number 1 seeded Carolina Panthers. Go away! Okay. Now, I just want to say this really quickly. In that Steelers and Bengals game, there was a penalty for, I think it was, an unsportsmanlike celebration, or whatever, in the end zone for a touchdown. That did not count. They called a penalty on a guy for play that was just, not called. So it's like if you got a touchdown, he ran a pick or a fumble back for a touchdown, did a dance, got a penalty for it. But the touchdown didn't save, but the penalty did. Just my little complaint. When you have a penalty on a touchdown celebration and the touchdown doesn't count, then that should just offset the penalty. If the touchdown doesn't count, you can't have an illegal celebration for a touchdown. That should not stand. That was the biggest, that was the stupidest piece of shit call this week and possibly this season. Now, if we were a couple seasons back where we had that whole Green Bay Seattle Seahawks Hail Mary incident, maybe not. Could have been in that discussion, but we're not in that time frame. Fuck off! Go the fuck away, you son of a bitch! Cat is a son of a bitch, man. Anyway, that's the prediction. Those were the that was the recap from the wildcard weekend. So now we get into the headlines. First off, the biggest piece of news this week, the San Francisco 49ers have signed head coach Chip Kelly to be their head coach. I know what you guys thought my big headline was going to be, but I'm going to say that for last because I have some shit that I want to get off my chest. Excuse me. San Francisco has signed head coach Chip Kelly. And all I've heard about Chip Kelly is that he doesn't need a running quarterback, so Colin Kaepernick may not be back next year. Anyway. Oh well. But I'm glad we got Chip Kelly because, A, it's always great when you're looking for a head coach to get one as quick as possible and before everybody in the offseason is just scrambling for new shit. It's good to just get that over and done with. The head coaching job does not, or the head coaching search is over and done with. We don't need to worry about that this offseason. We just need to focus on rebuilding our roster and getting back what we did not have this year, such as defensive players that can actually tackle and bring down opponents. And we also need to get that quarterback situation figured out. We need to keep our halfbacks healthy. I think our wide receiving core was pretty yeah, I think it was pretty damn good this year, actually. But we need to focus on that quarterback position. We need to keep our halfbacks healthy. And most of all, hold on. We need to get some great offensive linemen. We have Joe Staley. That's it. But most of all, we need to focus on our defensive line and our secondary. We need those defensive cores. Back in our Super Bowl year where we had Navarro Bowman and Alden Smith and Patrick Willis and excuse me, just all these great guys. That we don't have them anymore, and we need a defensive unit that can actually do the work like it's supposed to be done. But I think Chip Kelly can really turn us around, and even after the season ended, right after the season ended, I had a feeling we're going to have a good year next year. Maybe not make it to the playoffs, but at least make it to 500, hopefully. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just thinking about it. The football fans that I know, Sorry. Excuse me. The football fans I know. Myself, of course, Rich and Jess, who are Steelers fans. Lucy, my ex-girlfriend, who is a New England Patriots fan. Fuck off! Stop going back there, just... Anyway, myself, 49ers fan. Rich and Jess, Steelers fans. Lucy is a Patriots fan. I just hate knowing that. I just hate the feeling of knowing a fucking Patriots fan. Those are really the only fans I know. Of course, Rich and Jess I met after I noticed that, or after I knew they were Steelers fans. And Lucy, I got her into football in the first place. But I like how out of the fucking only football fans I know, the only person that has never been let down by their team, barely ever, is my ex-girlfriend. She's got the luckiest draw out of anybody I know when it comes to football fans. Because Rich, Jess, and myself have all known what it's like with the Steelers and the Niners to be disappointed by our teams. As a matter of fact, I don't think since she's been a Patriots fan, she's ever missed a play. Fuck! Now that I realize that, it's kind of disappointing to me. My ex-girlfriend has more luck in football than I do, and I'm the one that taught her about it. It's a sad world we live in. It's a sad world I live in. But anyway, I got off topic there. Next headline: New Orleans Saints keep head coach John Payton. You son of a bitch! I'm gonna kick your ass. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. You son of a bitch! Run the fuck away, you bastard. Okay. That kind of comes as a surprise to me. I mean, the whole Chuck Pagano thing kind of came as a surprise to me with staying with the Colts as well. But I honestly thought the Saints were just going to get rid of Sean Payton. Maybe they see it as more of a talent issue, and they don't have enough talent on their roster, and less of a head coaching issue. But honestly, I think they need to change up some of the things in their lineup, along with some of the things in their coaching perspective. Maybe a new defensive coordinator, maybe a new quarterbacks coach. But yeah, that's pretty much that. Excuse me. We're gonna just skip the Detroit head coaching position because Jim Caldwell is still the front runner, and I don't want to say much other than Jim Caldwell was able to turn it around late in the season. May have missed the playoffs by just a bit, but he was able to turn it around the season. I hope he would keep his job. He deserves, another chance with the Detroit Lions. And now the biggest headline of the week. The St. Louis Rams next year will become the Los Angeles Rams. I'm pissed off about that. You want to know why? It's because I don't like the city of Los Angeles, and I don't like the fact that Los Angeles has two basketball teams, two baseball teams, a hockey team, and now they're probably going to have 2 or 3 fucking NFL teams. You son of a bitch. Stop it, you son of a bitch. All right. That just kills me inside. I mean, I liked having the St. Louis Rams because, A, they're in the NFC West with the 49ers. So now it's going to be San Francisco versus Los Angeles. God, fucking, I hate this. So the Rams are moving to Los Angeles. Chargers may follow them as they are the second front runners if they agree to the terms, which I'm really hoping they don't. If the NFL is going to have a Los Angeles team, or if Los Angeles is going to have an NFL team, just have one. You have enough California teams. But anyway, the Raiders also may follow. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, since they have been looking to get out of the O.Co Coliseum in Oakland for a while now. As a matter of fact, there was actually talks about them sharing Levi Stadium with the 49ers a couple of years ago. I honestly think if the Raiders are going to move or relocate, the best chance would be in 2017 or 2018 when the City of Champions Stadium, the very luxurious stadium that the Rams will be building that, after the City of Champions Stadium is completely finished. I think the Raiders can definitely take that opportunity to move to Los Angeles and do something, start over. I think they can definitely take that opportunity and just run with it. But for right now, I think Oakland and San Diego are the places that the Raiders and the Chargers respectively need to stay. Rams moving to Los Angeles. It'll be the Los Angeles Rams next year. Nothing I can do to stop that. Anyway, excuse me. That's it. Excuse me. That's all I have for headlines. Only 4 headlines, but they were pretty big ones. Except, like San Francisco and maybe Detroit or whatever. But that's because I love San Francisco. Not the city necessarily, but the 49ers. Anyway, now we get to the fun part. This is the part where I either choke or croak. All right, I'm not going to say that anymore. Divisional round predictions and preview. We're going to start with the AFC because they probably have the most lopsided games. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I know another football fan. Mr. Lombardo. Frank Lombardo. He's a Patriots fan as well. He's going to be pissed off with me after this video. I'll tell you why in just a second. But again, sorry, Lombardo. I can't. I'm not going to be biased here. I also don't like the Patriots, but that has nothing to do with my prediction. AFC, first off, with the number 5 seeded Kansas City Chiefs going into the number 2 seeded New England Patriots home field. Patriots have lost 4 of their last 6, including the final 2 games of the season against the Jets in overtime and against the Dolphins in Week 17. They're also coming off of a bye week in which they have no momentum and no anything to propel them into this game, whereas Kansas City has gone on winning 11 straight games since starting out the season 1-5. They've got a hot hand in Jeremy Maclin, who's predicted to be back this week. They've got a hot hand with really any of the receivers. Their halfbacks have been playing great. Alex Smith has been doing amazing. Their defensive line and defensive unit has been doing incredible, and the Patriots have just been in the headlines because Chandler Jones was taken to the hospital. Again, I'm sorry, Lombardo, but I'm taking the number 5 seeded Kansas City Chiefs in this game. That's my upset of the week. I just think Kansas City has too much momentum for the Patriots, 4-6 in the last 6 games of the season to overcome. I mean, they started out undefeated. They lost 2 games in a row. Then they came back for 2-game winning streak, and then they had another 2-game skid. Excuse me. And now they skip a week. They just get a little bit more practice in, and I mean they're going up against a team that's won 11 straight. I have a feeling it's going to be 12 straight. That's my prediction that's my upset of the week for the Kansas City Chiefs to move on to the AFC Championship game. I'm legitimately laughing. I cannot believe I am predicting the Kansas City Chiefs to go to the AFC Championship. I cannot believe myself. Oh my gosh. I never imagined myself saying, yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to the fucking championship game, the AFC championship game, let alone a shot to go to the Super Bowl. Whoa, shit, no. Oh, no. I'm going to hate. If my predictions all come true this week, at least for the AFC, I'm going to hate the Super Bowl this year. Oh my gosh, no. Fuck. So the Kansas City Chiefs to win it. The other AFC game, the number 6 seeded Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm trying to calm down. Against the number 1 seeded Denver Broncos, who are more than likely starting Brock Osweiler this week. The Broncos have not looked like a team capable of beating everybody in their path, and the Steelers, be it sloppy performance in the past couple of weeks, may have somewhat of a say. I honestly think Pittsburgh's going to overcome. and win this game in Denver to make the AFC championship game a battle of the wild cards between the Kansas City Chiefs, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Which means either the Chiefs are going to go to the Super Bowl, and I'm going to be bored as shit, or the Steelers are going to go to the Super Bowl, have a shot to win 7 Super Bowls. My heart hurts now. And get 2 Super Bowl wins ahead of the 49ers. And I'll have to buy Jess lunch. Oh, yeah. I made the bet that if the Steelers won the Super Bowl, because I don't want the Steelers to win the Super Bowl, I'd buy her lunch. Things are not going my way this year. Fuck! I am so regretting my predictions this week. Oh, my heart hurts. Fuck. I don't want the Steelers or the Chiefs to be in the fucking AFC title game, because then there's a shot that the Super Bowl won't come my way. I'll be bored watching it, or I'll be just tormented and haunted and horrified by it. Fuck. I hate this. I'm legitimately hurting. My heart is killing me now. I'm sorry, my chest is killing me. My heart is beating to shit because I realize if my predictions go through and I go for 4-0, this Super Bowl is not gonna be fun. Not at all. Oh. And now we get to the NFC. Number 5 seeded Green Bay Packers go into the number 2 seeded Arizona Cardinals. This game should be fun to watch. The Packers have been struggling. They've been mediocre. They've been going off and on. I'm sorry. I'm still trying to recover from that whole prediction scheme. But the Packers have been off and on for the past while. And the Arizona Cardinals have really done well. I mean, except for that loss against the Seahawks. I'm taking Arizona here. I think they'll be the only non-wild card team to make it to the AFC or NFC championship game. That should give you a little preview to what my prediction for the next game is. But I've got Arizona winning. I think they've been playing stable football. They've been playing very good football as well. They've been playing very, solid, stable, strategic football over the past couple of weeks. It's been incredible to watch them. It's been incredible to see them develop as a team. Excuse me. And I want to see the NFC West make it to that damn NFC Championship game for a 5th year in a row. Let me tell you this. Let me give you a little bit of brief history. So, yeah, Rich, Jess, you can't hold a candle to my NFC West. I'll tell you why. 2011, 49ers represented in the NFC Championship game. 2012, 49ers represented the NFC West game, the NFC Championship game. 2013, 49ers and Seahawks represented the NFC West. 2013, Seahawks represented the NFC West. 2014, 2015 / whatever. This year, excuse me, there's a good shot we have 5 years in a row. Not to mention, for the past 3 years in a row, the NFC West has been the representative in the Super Bowl. It was the 49ers in 2012, Seahawks in 2013 and 2014. Excuse me. So Arizona Cardinals to win that game, move on to the NFC Championship game for the first time, I think, since the 2009 season. Anyway, so as much as I hate the Cardinals, well, I don't really hate the Cardinals. I only hate the Seahawks. But as much as I hate the Seahawks, as much as of a rival as the Cardinals and the Rams are, just like with Rich and Jess believe, whether you make it to the postseason or not, you want at least one team from your division to represent, you know? And for the past 4 years, we've done nothing but represent this damn division, with the past 3 years being the Super Bowl. And I want the NFC West to represent us such highly again. It was such a point in time where the Rams were like, the kicking posts of the league. It was the 49ers, the Cardinals, and the Seahawks that were all at the top. They were bouting for the NFC West. And now the 49ers have fallen, but the Cardinals and the Seahawks are such tense at that top. And I think the Cardinals are going to walk away with the win here in Arizona, hosting Green Bay. So I think this is where Aaron Rodgers' season concludes. And excuse me, I personally think this game could be close. Definitely closer than the 38-8 blowout that the Cardinals put on a couple weeks ago. I think this game will be close, but I don't think the Green Bay Packers have it in them to overcome the Cardinals. I may be wrong. You never know. But I honestly think the Cardinals are going to walk away victorious. Then the final game. Number 6 seeded Seattle Seahawks go into Carolina to face the number 1 seeded Carolina Panthers. Number 1 seeded 15-1 Carolina Panthers. Here's where I think momentum beats time off. The Seahawks have won, 5 or 6 straight, including their game against Minnesota, that they really should not have won. The Vikings lost that game. The Seahawks did not win it. But the Seahawks have a lot of momentum coming into this game. Carolina has, the week off. Not to mention, no matter what their record was this year, I never considered the Carolina Panthers to be that big of a threat, big of a deal. I know Andrew Padula. I only say his last name because he's a YouTuber. You'd probably know him if you watch my channel. Excuse me, but he's a Panthers fan, and I'm sorry, Andrew, but I've never been sold on the Panthers, at least not this season. I think Cam Newton's a great quarterback. I think Jonathan Stewart's a great halfback. I think you got such a great, talented receiving core with Ted Ginn and Kelvin Benjamin and Greg Olsen with that tight end lineup. Excuse me. I think you've had a great secondary and a great defensive line. Your offensive line may need some work. I'll say that. But you've had such a solid season this year, such a great season. But I was never sold on you guys. I'm sorry to say that because the Panthers are a great team. But I think with the time off, going against Seattle with so much momentum behind them, and so much to prove that game against the Vikings was not a fluke. It's not a miracle. It was just, flat out skill from the Seahawks. I take the Seahawks in this game. I think going back to the 2010 Green Bay Packers, where they went 15-1 and lost in the divisional round to, I believe, the New York Giants. I think this is going to be another case. The 15-1 Carolina Panthers are going to lose to the Seattle Seahawks, and it will be the show of the NFC West again, and the NFC West is going to represent the Super Bowl again. So my predictions are for Kansas City and Pittsburgh to play in the AFC Championship game, and Arizona and Seattle to bout it out in the NFC Championship game, which means if my predictions go correct this week, completely correct, the Super Bowl will either be between the Cardinals and the Chiefs. Oh, sorry. Let me start that over. The Seahawks and the Chiefs, Seahawks and the Steelers, the Cardinals and the Chiefs, the Cardinals and the Steelers. I've been vouting for that Steelers-Cardinals game rematch in the Super Bowl for so long. As much as I hated the shot that Pittsburgh would have to get 7 rings. The first Super Bowl I ever watched was Pittsburgh Steelers, Arizona Cardinals in Super Bowl 43. That memorable Santonio Holmes toe tap touchdown that won the Steelers their 6th ring. I hate saying that, but it was such an incredible moment, and I've been waiting for a rematch. And what better way to set up, in my opinion, one of the greatest Super Bowls of all time for Super Bowl 50. I mean, I've seen I've seen Super Bowls, every Super Bowl since 43. I saw the Steelers rout the Cardinals. The following year, I saw the Saints beat the Colts in one of my most underrated Super Bowls, in my opinion. I saw the Packers beat the Steelers in one of my, excuse me, least memorable Super Bowls. Excuse me. I saw the Giants beat the Patriots again. I was 1 year late to the Super Bowl, so I didn't see the first. I didn't see Eli's miracle #1. I saw the Ravens beat the 49ers. I cried myself to sleep that night. That was the last. As a matter of fact, that was the last time I cried. That was the very latest time I cried back in 2012. I'm being serious. I have not cried since that day, and I have never cried that hard in my life. But the quest for 6 continues. I saw the Seahawks blow out the Broncos. Steelers, Saints, Packers, Giants, Niners. Oh, sorry, Ravens, Seahawks. And I've seen the Patriots pull off the miracle. I like to consider everything a miracle on Bourbon Street, just because it's fun to say. The miracle on Bourbon Street. But no, the miracle in the Meadowlands. No, where was that held? No, miracle and the miracle of Glendale or whatever, where the Pats picked off, or I'm sorry, Malcolm Butler picked off Russell Wilson at the goal line. That was a very, very memorable moment. But, I mean, every Super Bowl has been great. And I've had a memorable moment from every Super Bowl except the Steelers Packers one. I mean, the memorable moments for me were the Santonio Holmes toe tap touchdown. For the Saints, it was the interception or the fumble recovery for the touchdown that gave them the win. Excuse me. For the Giants and the Patriots, it was the sit down touchdown. And I'm sorry, Packers Steelers was skipped. And then the 49ers Ravens was the blackout, of course, and then also the Jacoby Jones kickoff return and the Ted Ginn failed punt return. The first snap for the Broncos Seahawks game was the most memorable moment, and of course the pick on the goal line. The pick heard around the world, the miracle in Glendale, the miracle under the dome. Yeah, a lot of memorable moments from the Super Bowl. And right now, the only Super Bowl I want to see, the only Super Bowl I can bear to see, are the Cardinals Steelers or Seahawks Steelers. I can't see anything with the Chiefs. That bore the shit out of me. It's sad to say that the only Super Bowl, if my predictions go right, which I'm actually hoping they don't, it's gonna be a bad year for me. Either the Steelers are gonna make me depressed, and Jess and Rich will be relentless with it when it comes to me. Getting to 5 first won't matter when you got to 7 before anybody else got to 6. And the Chiefs, which talk about a nap. That's it. That's all I have to say. So those are my predictions, and I'm going on an hour here. So anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this week. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you have, I'm going to try to bring this back, but if you have any questions for the next episode of the Hardy at Questions and Answers series, please, I'm giving you more options. Either send them to my email, unitards, that is unitards with 2 Z's at the end, @gmail.com. Or you can send them to me on Twitter @ZacharySir. Remember to follow me as well. Or you can leave a question in the comments below. I will always answer them whenever I get them. They will always be answered. Excuse me. But email me. Send it to me on Twitter. Or of course, you can put them in the comments below. And remember to follow me on Twitter @ZacharySir. I tweet about shit like the Republican debates and the Democratic debates and WWE and football, and I'm boring. But that's all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Remember to like, favorite, and subscribe for more. I'm Zach Hardy, signing off.